Good morning, YouTube. This morning we're at the Grand Canyon National Park, or the airport that's nearby in the Grand Canyon National Park area. And we're going to fly around the Grand Canyon in the default Cessna 172. I think I know what I did wrong with the RNAV landing that I attempted to do yesterday, so I might reattempt doing that this morning, but otherwise we should be able to get a visual on everything. I think the radios are already pre-programmed for the GCN, but I'll look at that here in a moment. In case we need to fly to a waypoint to get back to the GCN. We have direct to KBVU. 113.1, if my memory recalls correctly, that is the GCN, and then we're here, and this is my flight path from when I programmed it. So I'm going to leave all of that in there for the time being. We won't need it, except for upon the landing I can initiate the approach, activate. Mixture and fuel for throttle. Okay, let's turn the fuel pump off. Turn the avionics back on, and let me have a look at the G530 just to show you that we do have our flight plan from yesterday still in there. So what I can do is I can activate the approach later, and as I see it, it looks like to me it's already activated. So I'm not going to worry about it right now, but I can potentially reactivate it during flight and then try to do it again. I think what I did wrong yesterday was I had this program to 060, so when I was trying to do the approach on the autopilot, he was trying to fly 060 instead of 030, and so it had me off center, and I had to take control of the autopilot, or manually fly the aircraft instead of using the autopilot and do the landing. But other than that, I think that was the only mistake I had, so I'm going to try it again this morning just to see. I do think it was just a mistake on my part, but I think it is possible to do just fine with the G530. I just lack practice. All right. I took the brakes off. And I'm getting pushed over in that direction. So we got some winds this morning. So yesterday in the video, I had mentioned that I wouldn't mind having some of the green trim on my seats in the default Cessna. Why am I not going very fast here? Raised my flaps. I'm not getting any speed, and I probably need to adjust the mixture too. Alright, rotating. Flaps are coming up. I want to get some altitude before I put my head down to look at the RPMs and adjust the mixture. I'm losing RPMs. Losing RPMs. Okay, that's the sweet spot. I feel like I don't have much power this morning for some reason. Flaps are up. With that being said, that makes me a little hesitant to actually fly in the Grand Canyon lacking the power, because I'm going to need to be able to fly out at certain times. I might get so low I might not have space. I'm going to have to do circling in the areas that I do have space in order to gain additional altitude to be able to fly out. I've turned the I've turned the taxi and landing lights off. So they're out. I'll have to remember to turn them back on land. 'Wonder if that's the waypoint, the KGCN waypoint. I don't rightly know what that is. It might just be some memorial thing or some other landmark. That isn't what I typically think waypoints look like, so it can't be a waypoint. I have my doubts. Trim it some. Get my power again, see how things are going there. Yeah, I'm not getting over 2,500 RPMs. Yesterday on the way there, I had it leaned out pretty good, and was getting a lot of power out of it. But this morning, that is not happening. Right now I'm focusing on getting it trimmed so I can actually take my hand off the yoke for a minute. Oh yeah, I'm getting some power now, look at that. Okay. I'm going to back it down to 2,500 instead of running at full throttle as I was. So yeah, I don't know if I finished what I started, but yesterday I mentioned in the video that I was interested in having the some green trim on my seats in the default aircraft, and then I spent a few minutes to figure out how to do it. But it turns out you can go to this website, you can convert your DDS cockpit files into PNG files, then you can edit them using your editor of choice. I happen to use Microsoft Paint and then just did a little copy paste, or just messed with the paint brushes and painted over things and adjusted them that way. And then once I was through, I went back to that website. It was convertio.co or something. If you type in convert DDS to PNG in Google, it's the first site. If it doesn't say add on it, that's the one you'd want to click on. I used that to reconvert it from PNG back to DDS, and then copied it back into my objects folder, and then I actually put it into my Waves library which is a library I don't use all that often. So I put it in there, and then I loaded the Waves library for the default Cessna 172 SP, and looked at my seats, and I had green trim, green seat belts, or whatever colors I also adjusted. I had all of that in there. It was kind of neat. So now I know how to do it, but then after I did it, I was like, there's nothing wrong with the default, so I think I'll just leave it be. So we are in fact using the default this morning. There's nothing wrong with beige, and it looks decent enough, and the aircraft flies the way that I want it to. So I do like the Snack Air carbon fiber, the back panel, the backsplash for the cockpit, that's carbon fiber. I like that. But I didn't like that all the dials are also carbon fiber, so I found a way that I can get rid of the cockpit dials and instruments that I don't like with carbon fiber. If anybody's interested in knowing how I did that, just maybe leave me a comment or something, and or a question is fine if you want to. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. But if you've got any questions or comments, I'll respond to all of them. I've gotten some doozy comments as well. I've responded to those. Some that were just questionable. If I see one that's just really bad, I might, keep it off the channel. But with people spamming stuff out there and the junk that's just out there in general, I mean, you could waste a life away trying to get rid of or do away with it all. So I'm not going to be overly concerned about it. I wasn't sure I was going to fly into the canyon, but it looks like I am just kind of doing it. Anyways, if I start feeling uncomfortable with the constraints or confines of the canyon, I'll start. You'll see me climbing and pull out. But it looks like there's enough space in here right now. If I don't get too low, that I can do circles and make it out okay. I don't have peripheral vision. I wish I had the track IR right now, because then I could use that to see left and right better. That's something I might invest in the near future, but I haven't done it yet. So I'll just try to be mindful of my whereabouts and not crash. I do not want to crash. That's not my intent. If I didn't have people watching videos, I might be more intent to do more dangerous things and just fly down and even land at the bottom of the canyon and then fly out. Now I am experiencing some turbulence coming out of the canyons a little bit as I'm going in and around these planes, bouncing around some. Questions that I always have, when I go to places like this, and it might seem a little bit morbid, but I'm always wondering, okay, how many people died here exploring this place, or just accidentally slipped and fell when they were trying to look out over, before there were fences and things like that to keep people, visitors and whatnot from actually falling. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that crosses my mind. How many people died and why? For what purpose? Or how many died that we don't even know about, for doing things in the canyon and that were unknown? How many stories are forgotten and missed? What library do you all prefer? I wouldn't mind knowing. If you don't mind leaving a comment, let me know what libraries you all prefer and use. Something I've never heard of or I haven't used myself, I might be inclined to take a look at it. Sometimes I take the notion to go out and just explore and discover new things that I could do with the Cessna. It is one of my favorite aircraft to fly. But I think just in general, I'm a vanilla kind of person and don't necessarily like making a lot of change. Sometimes it's cool to discover something new and different, and then I realize, wow, I've been missing out. But if it's already pretty dang good, you know, like the default Cessna, then I'm thinking, well, you know, maybe I should just stick with what's already there and not mess with it too much. But I'd like to know what y'all do, so you know, leave a comment, let me know. I'm getting extremely low here, so feeling uncomfortable. See, I don't know what's around that bend there. I got plenty of open space right now, and I could do a circle and I could gain altitude and I could turn around. But if I go too close over there to the left, I don't know what goes beyond that and how much space is there. So I'm going to try to approach it carefully. And if worse were to come to worse, I could potentially just try to land the aircraft and then take off and fly out of here as well. But I think it would be troublesome. Oh yeah, we got plenty of space. For now. For now. But what lies beyond up ahead? Am I gonna die? I'll crash. I'll be one of the casualties of the canyon. So I might try to get in touch with the people who created the carbon fiber, you know, the John Fly Carbon Edition cockpit for the Snack Gear library, and also who created the Snack Gear library to see, you know, what I can do with that, or look and see if they have, you know, if it's like an open source license that, you know, has a GPL 2 or 3, I might be inclined to do more things with it, modify it, change it, and you know, have fun with it myself. But I don't want to get anybody into any trouble by trying to enable them to do it when, you know, maybe we shouldn't do it. But again, I wouldn't mind having, say, the Snack Air John Fly carbon fiber cockpit without the carbon fiber dials, and if they're okay with me making adjustments like that, or even borrowing their green trim and seat belts for the default Cessna aircraft and just kind of tweaking it on my own using their things, then I might do that. And as well as do that, I might show you how I do it to enable you as well. What I do in life a lot is figure things out, and I spend so much time doing it, I've just gotten used to it. And I think many times I'm willing to, you know, beat my head against the wall to do something where that would stop most people, you know, or give them a headache, or they get frustrated with it and they're ready to give up, and I keep going. So that because I'm able to keep going and focus to a degree that a lot of other people don't have that extent, you know, they're ready to come to me for help, or you know, ask me to, you know, give them a hand. All right, I am going to try to. Let me see what's fun. We'll fly a little bit, but I just feel confined a little bit here. What I'm trying to say is I don't mind learning some of these things and then trying to show you what I've done so that it makes it easier for you as well. And that's what we all kind of do, you know, with the ability to use Google and YouTube. You know, you can enable yourself really quickly with many different things. Just sit there for hours on end watching videos or how-tos on how to do this, how to do that, and before you know it, you know, you're able to fix things in your house that you weren't able to fix before. You're able to do things on your motorcycle that you weren't able to do before. You have better understanding that you didn't before. And you grow and learn and become better. Alright, how many people are assuming I'm going to die today? How many think I can make it through without issue? Right now I feel pretty confident that I can, but you know, because I've got confidence, because y'all are watching, I'm about to die. That's sort of the luck that I feel I have sometimes. Sometimes. You know, this is just a simulator, and if I crash, it doesn't mean a thing. I don't have to even let it bother my pride. It's just a thing, you know, it's not real life. I try to treat it as real life, you know, but in real life, I would not be flying my Cessna at the bottom of the canyon. Not only that, but it's probably quite illegal. There's probably so many rules, policies, and regulations that prevent pilots from being able to do things like this. And that's smart, in a way, helps keep people alive. And insurance companies from having to pay money for aircraft that get damaged doing stupid stuff. But it sure does suck the life and the fun out of it. The water looks really nice. I'm liking the reflections of the canyon off of the water and the lighting. It's sort of glitching, you know, it looks like water, but at the same time it looks like fake water, but it does look relatively decent. Overall, for as fake as it is, being just a simulator, I think it looks pretty outstanding. And I might be inclined to do this same flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 just for comparison, you know. I won't try to do the RNAV landing like I'm going to try to do this morning, because yeah, or maybe I could try, but the components that enable me to do it in X-Plane aren't there in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which makes me not want to try. But I have had some, success with it. Alright, let's have a look over there and see whether or not we've got a closed door. Yeah, I think I'm going to start pulling out some, gaining altitude. And then if I feel comfortable, you know, if I see an opening, I can drop in further and keep going, I will, but getting tight in here. We had wide open spaces before. I used to fly FSX and FS 2002. It's Microsoft products as well, and 2004 versions. But I would get the F5s. These are the MiGs in Top Gun, F5s. If you want to relate with what they look like, so they're very sharp-edged, streamlined jets, fast, and that's what Maverick did his inverted dive at, you know, what, 4 meters was it? He was like right on top of them, which is very unrealistic, but is that a 4G inverted dive with a MiG? Those are F5s in real life, and those are not MiGs. They're real U.S. aircraft. They're outdated, but they're U.S. aircraft. In any case, I used to download those for the flight simulator, and I would fly those in the canyon. That was fun. I have screenshots of that somewhere, pictures, but it would take me a while to locate them. I'm pulling out again, feeling confined. And I don't have a jet engine like I would in F5, which can just rocket will blast out of here. I've got what? Twin turbo with RPMs that were just kind of giving me a rough time this morning. Or is it just a turbo prop? I don't know. I don't know all the specifics. I won't even claim to. I do try to learn as I go, but I don't have the best recall like some people do. I have what is just a good general overall understanding, but like struts, I did look that up yesterday too, and those are struts. Those are the wing struts. So I don't know how I knew that, or why I called it that. Maybe just because that's what it was doing, was, you know, acting as a strut. But I wasn't certain, and I said it, and I was like, you know, I don't want to keep calling it a strut if that's not what it is. But if y'all see that I'm saying something wrong, misidentifying things, leave a comment, let me know. Teach me. How's my flying? You know, I don't have a how's my driving sticker, but get pushed. Yeah, I'm thinking after I pay bills, I'm going to look at the track IR, investing in that. I think it will come in handy for these videos. If anyone out there that's watching these videos has used track IR, let me know what you think of it. Should I invest in something else, or do you think track IR is worth it? And as I look down in there, I kind of get a sense, you know, I could fit my wings in there, but man, that would be dangerous. I'm inclined to fly out of the canyon now and kind of go back the way we came. Do it again. Anybody interested, or do you want to fly over it and see it from a higher altitude? Which that could be interesting as well. Let's see if we can make it out of the canyon at this climb rate and speed. We are going to lose airspeed as I'm climbing. I'm climbing over 1,000 feet per minute right now. I'm going to try to keep it right at 1,000 feet per minute. And I'm just manually flying the aircraft. There's no autopilot for this. If I tried to mess with autopilot while flying the canyon, we would die. If I want to live, I gotta focus. I tend to go a little fast on my motorcycle as well, and that's what I have is sport bikes. And I don't think I have a death wish or anything like that. I just enjoy going fast. I enjoy, you know, a high performance motorcycle and the road, and doing that with a friend. So, you know, I ride with an older guy. I might not mention his name because he won't feel comfortable with it. But I ride with a guy. He's about 70 years old, and this guy's kind of like an old war hero. You know, he hasn't been in any wars, but he's got many scars. He's been through many scrapes. He's got many stories, and that's part of the reason why I enjoy hanging around him, because he's just got this mentality that's kind of, it's neat, it's interesting and intriguing, and it doesn't slow him down when he gets in a scrape. He just keeps going, you know, like the Energizer Bunny. And he's faster than I am too, so he's hard to keep up with when I ride with him. When he's on his cruiser, no trouble. When he's on his GSXR 750, it's a little bit more of a challenge, unless I'm on a bigger bike, something that has more power. I've got, you know, a 300, 636, and 1000cc bike. So if I'm on the 300 and he's riding his cruiser, you know, those are pretty much evenly matched. He won't leave me behind. But if he's on his GSXR and I'm on the 300, it takes me a while to get up to speed, and he can almost double the speed that I can top out on the 300. Now, I don't want to make it sound like we're out there just burning up the roads all the time, because that's not what riding is all about. But it can be fun when you're in the mountains, in the twisties, and with that, you know, we might just be taking corners faster than a car would typically take them, but we're not just always doing 90 miles an hour down the straights and things like that. Now, we're abiding by the laws just like everybody else, but in the mountains, in the twisties, I can't necessarily say that we're always riding the safest, or what would be considered safe. You know, we're riding with it well within our riding ability, which is safe, but for other people perceiving, it looks like we're not riding safely. Looks like we're riding dangerously fast, you know, on these corners. Because you know what happens if you hit a patch of gravel or a patch of leaves or somebody's grass clippings, you know, or maybe a dog runs out in front of you at the last minute, you know, and you just don't have time to react. Well, you know, you have to take all of those things into consideration when you're riding. And realizing some of those things up front can help you prevent them. I need to focus on what's in front of me right now. And so too on a motorcycle. You want to, you know, maintain that tunnel vision. What's out in front of you? You don't want to focus or get just your eyes hung up on one spot, because what you look at is where you go. But you know, when I was married, I maybe had 1 or 2 motorcycles at the most. But after I got divorced, now I've got 4 bikes. And that was not my intent, you know, to have 4 bikes. It just sort of happened, you know. It's like you look back in your garage or your workshop or whatever it is you're keeping your bikes in, and you're like, why do I have 4 bikes? Do I really need 4 bikes? And the answer is no, you don't need 4 bikes. But it's almost like there's a bike for every occasion, you know. And, you know, I say this to my friend, and he's like, what do you mean you don't need 4 bikes? Yeah, you do need 4 bikes. You need as many bikes as you can store, as many bikes as you can pay for, as many bikes as you want. I can't say I necessarily disagree with it, but for me, I don't really feel like I need 4 bikes. Maybe 2. One general all-around purpose motorcycle, and 300 is pretty good for that because it doesn't go too fast, and it's also very, very good on gas. And then the 1000cc bike for those days when I just want to, you know, tear up the twisties. So what I'm doing here, just to kind of give you a visual on the pilot, is I've got one hand on the yoke and one hand on the throttle, and as I'm flying through the canyons, I'm just, back and forth on the throttle and making small adjustments to the aircraft to try not to hit anything. I'm trying to kill myself, and I'm hot, so there's a little level of fear here that's making me warm, because I don't want to fail in front of everyone. But yet I still want to do this. And if I weren't here doing this, live streaming on YouTube, I would be doing it anyways. Like I said, I used to take the F5 through these canyons. It just seemed like the best suited. I tried other jets, I tried the A4s, I probably tried F14s, I probably tried F18s. I don't remember all the jets that I tried, but the F5 just seemed best suited for it. It did seem very maneuverable. And through these canyons, when it gets tight, maneuverability is, well, it's all the difference in the world. Another aircraft that I really liked flying in the older flight sims was the YF-23 and the F-22 Raptor. I think the YF-23 I came to find seemed handled better. But there are many people out there that swear by the F-22, and I also don't know how accurate they are in the flight sim as opposed to the real world models versions. But in game, they were a lot of fun flying. And YF-22 wasn't that hard to actually stop either in comparison to some of the other jets where it seemed to take up the entire runway. Either that or it was just a lack of knowing what I was doing on my part to be able to get it to slow down quick enough. So it was snowing yesterday evening. It doesn't look like, as I look out there now, it doesn't look like any of it's stuck. It looks like it melted away. It's probably frozen over right now, but I was kind of hoping for, maybe I could be out of work Monday, but it doesn't look like that right now unless it snows some more. This is part of the reason why we're out west, because I don't want to fly my Cessna in the cold weather and have it ice over and crash, and that has happened. In one of my videos I was making, I iced over on my way to, I think it might have been, it was either KRDU from Greensboro or it was KORF. Probably KRDU because it's a shorter flight, and I was probably trying to keep the video short at the time because I was just starting out. And really, I've only just recently started out. I mean, I was doing videos for another YouTube channel, uploading them, maintaining it to some degree for someone else. And I just thought, me and this friend, we're doing these flights in Flight Simulator, and I just did this really windy landing, and I recorded part of that landing, and it was a massive sized file. And I was thinking, I could just put this on YouTube. And so a couple of different things kind of convinced me to go down this path with YouTube. It's easier to share videos with friends and family, and it's kind of fun to do as well. And then as I got better at it, I just started doing more with it. And that will probably always continue to occur, making improvements, adjustments, making it better. That's pretty much what happens naturally when you focus on something. When you try, put in the effort. It's getting a little tight again, and it looks like I'm gonna have to make a sharp left there. But I don't see that. I can't really tell. Is the water going left or right? Yeah, looks like it might be going right, and that might not be which way I want to go, so I think we need to go left. I might find myself in a bad place going right there, or left rather. We need to go right. I said that wrong. Right, left, right, left, 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 right. Which way? Yeah, you need to go right, right? So when it opens up, when it becomes big and vast, and I feel like there's lots of space and lots of room, that's pretty much where we came in at. And that's probably where I'll fly out at and then go try to do the RNAV landing. And it looks to me right now like it's beginning to start to open up. Plenty of room. I do think I have ground collisions turned on. Um, Whatever realism settings I can turn on, I usually enable them. That doesn't mean it's that much, that is entirely realistic, but at least it's that much more realistic. So like when I tried to fly under the oil rig in San Diego the first time, I crashed. My landing gear just hit the water, and that was the end of it. But the second time I made it okay. See, it would be cool to land the aircraft down here and then just have a little picnic by the water. Spend the day maybe, or spend part of the day and then fly out, go back home. It would be cool to just drop down in here maybe with a helicopter, or if you could, like right there in front of me looks nice and flat. Like I feel like I in real life might be able to land there and then just spend the day and fly out. You have enough room to turn the aircraft around and go the opposite way. It looks like there's enough room there to take off. It really doesn't take that much space to land. And then there's a bit of drop off there too, so if you didn't have enough space, you could go downhill a little bit. Gain speed and some altitude. It's doable. Ooh, that made me dizzy there, the way it spun around like that. Alright. Now I could fly around this canyon all day. Or until I die. But I think I'm going to fly out and do this RNAV landing. So I'm going to get altitude to the point at which I'm actually out of the canyon. I'm just going to fly straight ahead. And then I will pull up the G530 and I will activate the approach. We'll fly to the initial airfix and reattempt the RNAV landing. that being said, I am going to pre-program this dial 030. We also need to look, because I didn't do it before takeoff because most of this flight is visual. Verify that we are going to magnetic north. Now you need to do that when you're straight and level, and I'm actually climbing out 1,000 feet per minute. But I'm seeing south right there, and this says north, so we are definitely not. we're going to have to adjust. So I will do that as soon as I'm straight and level. I'm also going to go ahead and set my heading indicator to 030 as well, since I'm just climbing out. And I think I'll do vertical speed. Let me initiate the autopilot. Vertical speed, yeah, and we'll do it at 8. I think we got enough power to climb out at 8. If we slow down too much, I'll change the vertical speed, but we're good for right now. And we can change the views without, because we're not going to hit anything. Actually, let me get in the back and look out these windows. The pilot seat. Might have to do a little turn. If I do, what I'll do is the heading of 030 will just fly out that way. But I'm getting concerned about this little mountain right there. I'm getting pushed over to it. We're not flying straight. So let's do heading. Yeah, I do like the way the canyons look in, or the Grand Canyon. I like the way it looks in X-Plane, but I'm curious to see what it looks like in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 as well. Alright. And I think I'm going to look at the G530 now and initiate the approach. So we'll do proc, and we'll do activate approach. Now we have a direct to, I'll fly GPS flight to it. So we'll do GPS. And we'll come down here and we'll select nav. And nav again. The GPSS, I guess, means we're flying GPS. I'm guessing, yeah. I don't know everything. Sometimes I just guess. Educated guess. I look at it and I try to understand it. I may or may not have read a manual. I may have done some research, but not enough. The rest of it's a guessing game. I certainly would be the first person to tell you that I do not know everything. I would like to. We are not flying the GPS. So what is, oh, you know what? You know why? Because I initiated the approach before I did the whole straight and level thing and then matched up to magnetic north. So, excuse me. I'm going to climb out of here a little bit more. I don't know, maybe till I get to 8,000 feet, 9,000 feet. But I think what I'll do for the time being is switch it back to heading. I'm sorry about that. See, you know, live streaming, you all get to see me make my mistakes as I make them. And I make mistakes every day on these videos and other things I do every day. I don't like that, but it happens. But one thing I do appreciate about the videos myself is I do go back and watch these and I can see what I did wrong. So like the RNAV landing attempt yesterday, you know, I wasn't actually making the video, I was just watching it, and I knew. I was looking at my VOR1 and I'm like, well, you didn't have it set to 030, you had it set to 060. It's no wonder it didn't work. So, you know, I get to see my mistakes myself and learn from it. And I think that's important. So if I can learn from my mistakes, so can you. All right, 8,000 to 9,000. Let's zoom in and look at, it was 3023 for the altimeter yesterday. Let's switch to see what it is today. 3023. Alright, so that's still good for the altimeter. So once I get straight and level, and because I have my heading at 030, once I start rotating this knob almost nearly 180 degrees, the plane's going to start doing a circle on me, but I'll switch it back to GPS and it will correct our course, and then we'll go ahead and proceed with the RNAV landing. Alright, I'm getting ready to do the altitude hold at 9,000. And as soon as it levels out, then I modify the attack to maintain 2,500 RPMs. I'll do the, I'll switch the heading indicator to magnetic north. Okay. Alright, we're just slightly to the right of west, so west of 24. So let me let it go that heading, get straight and level again, and then just verify that we have it set close enough. And I'm going to set this to 210. Actually, at this point, I think we'll go ahead and select nav again and see if we can't fly GPS. It's close enough to get me going in the right direction. I haven't even looked for the runway yet, but it's right there in front of us somewhere. Looks like a distance of, well, we are a distance of 15 miles from the hold, not from the runway. So we're probably halfway from the runway. See if we look over the nose. There it is. So we got to fly out to Carms, do the hold, and fly back, just as we did yesterday. We're just approaching it from a different direction. All right, we're at 210, so I do need to still adjust this a little bit. It's off some. I think that'll do it. I mean, it's close enough as it is, but I'm just being a little on the anal side right now. Alright, we've intercepted the GPS track as well. You know what aircraft might be fun to fly through the canyon? It's not something I've done yet, but y'all might be able to convince me to do it. Leave a comment, let me know. But McDonnell Douglas Phantom F4, it's one of the default military aircraft. It's a jet in X-Plane 11. We could potentially fly that through there. I have little to no experience flying that jet. I may have, piddled around in it before. I don't even remember the last. I think when I was trying out at the X-Plane demo, this is the last time that I flew that aircraft. And because I wanted something fast that I could head over to the Snow Peak Mountain that I saw off in the distance when I took off from the Seattle runway. So I got in that aircraft, and that was pretty much what convinced me to go ahead and buy X-Plane. Doing that flight with that aircraft. I mean, I like to look at the Cessna too. It just, when I did the external view and I looked at it, I was like, wow. Because I had been just using Lightyear, and Lightyear looks more like a toy. This looks more realistic. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the landing and taxi lights, since we'll be doing that soon. I know we're not on final approach yet, but I have the tendency to forget those landing and taxi lights, so I'm doing it now. Because I'm not using the checklist, see? And that might come in handy as well if I mentioned the reality expansion pack yesterday, which is supposed to add more realism to the Cessna in X-Plane. And if I were to do that, and I don't know how much it costs, if I were to get the reality expansion pack, it might give me checklists and things like that I can use to improve, or even used to act as guidelines for improvement into something. But my concern with the reality expansion pack is whether or not it's going to eat up more resources on my computer than I would want it to while I try to fly in this game. I know this slow flight to the hold and back to the airport is kind of boring in comparison to flying down into the canyon. Boring for me, anyways. Because Cessnas go so fast, you know. Let's see. 2,500 RPMs. I could give it a little more power, speed it up some. Just get it right on top of that red line. I shall return. I'll step away from the computer for a minute while we're in this hole. Not much to see out here. See if we can still see the airport. I think yeah, that's it. So once I get established on the localizer, which should show up on VOR1, the localizer aspect is this line straight up and down here, or the vertical line. And the horizontal line, once we've intercepted the glide slope, we should see that. Right now it's just perfectly on these dots, but we have not intercepted the glide path, and we are not on the localizer, even though it appears, it says 2. So when this thing goes sporadic or haywire, and these are mismatched and not on the dots exactly, then we know we've gotten it established on the localizer. Once it lines up, we know we're lined up, and then I'll be waiting for the horizontal line to come down and get on these dots, and it's about that time is when I'm going to hit the approach button for my second attempt at the RNAV landing with this G530 here. I can definitely do it with the G1000, and I can do it with the GTN 750, but I don't fly with the G530 quite as often. However, with that being said, since I started making these videos, I have been flying with the default Cessna with the G530 that much more often, so I think it would behoove me to learn to use it better. What bothers me right now about VOR1 is that it is lined up horizontally and vertically, and we're not even on a track. You know, we're not on any lines, so it should show off center, you know, but it doesn't. It's showing as though we're already on that line. There we go. So now we're localized, or we're established on the localizer. And since this is set correctly, we should line up better with the runway. And then again, once it's maybe halfway between this notch here and this one here, I'll hit the approach button. I was going to wait till it was right, you know, perfectly aligned, but I'm not. I'm just going to wait until I see it budge. So I will go ahead and throttle back some, back to maybe 2200 RPMs, and I'm going to start extending my flaps. One step flaps. Okay, I'm ready to hit the approach button here. Go ahead and do that. And this information, well, it does say GS, so that might mean it has intercepted the glide slope. That GS would stand for glide slope. So, but why it's turning on us, I don't understand that. That doesn't seem right. That seems wrong. So what is going on there? Maybe we're not close enough. I'm going to turn the approach off and go back to nav, GPS, and get it better. And we're about to stall too, so I'm too focused on the GPS right now. More speed, throttle. Raising the flaps. The trim seems hung right now. I'm trying to get it so it nose down some. Gaining speed, that's good. I'm just going to do a series of S turns to stay mostly on track with the runway. Alright, now I'm throttling back. We have gained speed. I'm going to reinitiate the nav to get Just lined up on the approach. See, I'm doing very fast. I don't like this right now. What am I doing wrong? Autopilot's been disengaged there. So I'd call that another failed RNAV attempt. I think what I'll do, instead of struggling with it on video, or y'all to look at it and say, hey, I see what you're doing wrong, you dummy, is go practice. Just put some flaps out. Trying to give myself some more power, but that's the sweet spot right there. I'm going to do this one more time here. And it just wants to turn. I don't get it. And I do have it, we are on magnetic north this time, and I do have it at the right. Final step of flaps deployed. And I've just got it under manual control right now. Try to keep it around 60 knots. We're a little above the glide path there. So I've reduced throttle and nose down. We are coming in at a bit of an angle, so we've got some crosswinds. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe it's just really windy right now, and it's messing with the GPS landing. Flaps are coming up. Maybe the I have an idea of what might be, what my my issue might be. And if y'all know for certain, leave a comment, let me know. But maybe the GCN, the KGCN airport isn't set up to do a full GPS landing, you know, like your autopilot can't take you in for it. Maybe it can only provide the guidance here on your VOR for you to fly it in. But maybe, you know, there are some, and I'll have to look into that, do some research, but that might be what the problem is. If any of y'all know precisely what the problem is, though, leave a comment, let me know. I switch cameras and then I get off the center line. A lot more parking available to us. Fewer, there's still some Vision SF50s over there, but not quite as many. Well, at least in the first row. All right. I'm giving it some brake on the right. Do a hard right there. All right. Turn everything off. Do a replay on the landing. I will do a little bit more of a gentle landing today than I did yesterday. I don't like hearing the wheels bang. Makes me feel like I dropped down a little too hard, maybe came down a little too quickly. And maybe it wouldn't hurt the Cessna at all, but I don't like to hear it. All right, YouTube.